Welcome to the Gavel. I am Terry Ikumi. Now, the coronavirus received the maximum attention of lawmakers in both chambers of the National Assembly who had personal fears as far as the National Assembly was concerned. Listen to this.
It is not dangerous to sit with somebody who comes from Europe. That is the truth. That is the truth. Mr. President, please tell us first. Let the law start from us. Let no one travel out now from this chamber to either Dubai, Europe, anywhere. We should all be here and support Nigeria to fight this battle.
Since there is need to also test all members and staffs as they enter into the National Assembly.
Let's just have members and our staff, but visitors for now should be banned from coming into the House.
Now, what if I told you that despite passing that resolution to stop visitors, it was still business as usual at the National Assembly the next day? In fact, the galleries of both chambers entertained primary school students who were there on excursion. Now, the good news is the Senate has now decided to put a stop to all excursions and public hearings. Let's see if the House will follow suit. Well, here's how debates on COVID-19 went in the National Assembly.
I would like to go through the nitty-gritty of this report.
On Tuesday, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance presented a preliminary report on the urgent steps to take to handle the current economic challenges caused by the sharp drop of oil prices due to the coronavirus and exacerbated by the price disagreement between Russia and Saudi Arabia.
The downsizing of the Appropriation Act as passed by the National Assembly is inevitable, but the modalities to be adopted in the reduction of the budget must be used as suggested by the Appropriation Chairman and agreed to by the Joint Committee. 3, that the Revenue Generating Agency must be alive to their responsibility in line with the Fiscal Responsibility Act passed by the National Assembly and other relevant laws of the National Assembly. That the Joint Committee will invite the relevant stakeholders to an interactive section. These stakeholders include the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Nigerian Petroleum Corporation, the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, and engage relevant stakeholders in the business community for their own input and suggestion on the way forward on a continuous basis.
Senators were worried about the impact of the coronavirus on the country's manufacturing sector and the ability of industries to import raw materials to produce critical items like drugs. They were also concerned about Nigeria's high cost of oil production.
The issue is that the inefficiencies within our own petroleum sector is what has raised the cost of production to that level. So this inefficiency can only be addressed if this Senate engages with the Ministry of Petroleum Resources so that we can really get the PIB and really look at the content of what it takes to get a barrel out of oil and then really peg it and make it low.
And the cost of production in Nigeria, they say it's about 30. Although yesterday I was reading a document whereby they say some countries, the cost of production is about $5.
Yes.
Some are $8. Some are $9. Nigeria seems to be on the very, very high side. So there is need for the Joint Committee to immediately engage the Ministry of Finance, NNPC, and find a way around this problem. Otherwise, if oil is selling at around 30 and we produce oil at 30, so we're getting zero. And it will be a very serious thing to this country, given the fact that we virtually rely on oil revenue to run our government.
What do we do with some of the manufacturing industry we have in Nigeria? We don't manufacture much, but those that are manufacturing, the raw materials that they import may not be available now because many industries, particularly in China and some parts of Europe, are closed for now. And that means as we go along, those industries will not be able to produce. This may have effect on the availability of certain essentials, including even the few drugs we produce, the few items that are household items that we produce. What are the specific actions that we want to take? And as we come out of this situation, what is the specific plan of our central bank and of the government generally about supporting those sectors?
On Wednesday, COVID-19 topped debate in the National Assembly. While plenary was ongoing in both chambers, federal lawmakers received information of 5 new cases of COVID-19 in the country.
It's a very serious issue. From information now, because our border is still porous, people from countries that have been banned from going to US are now using Nigeria as a route, coming through Europe to purchase tickets from Nigeria to travel to the US.
We should stop them at the border. Once you are not in Nigeria and you are transiting through here, from there we stop you and then you go back to where you are coming from. I think this will also help us in reducing this to a minimal level. But above all, search yourself, judge yourself and get closer because you cannot avoid certain death.
Mr. President, please tell us first, let the law start from us. Let no one travel out now from this chamber to other Dubai, Europe, anywhere. We should all be here and support Nigeria to fight this battle. Because when you travel and come back, you will not know until after 14 days. Then you come and sit by me or behind me or somewhere.
I believe without wasting time, there are some low-hanging fruits that we even could have started with. For instance, Mr. President, I believe we don't need anybody to come and advise us now on the need to suspend foreign trips by government officials, both for the purpose of protecting ourselves as a nation.
Part of the resolutions of the Senate was for a presidential address.
Urge Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, to address the nation on the situation of the COVID-19 in Nigeria. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The upper chamber also called for a special intervention fund to combat the deadly disease.
Of urgent public importance.
Meanwhile, in the House of Representatives, lawmakers rejected an amendment to selectively restrict flights from certain countries.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The nays have it.
I want to say unequivocally that countries within the sub-West African region, as of today, about 3 or 5, have established quarantine. As you get into the country, you are not even just allowed to move. They take you to quarantine areas. I was speaking with the ECOWAS Speaker of Parliament last night, and he was telling me of this development. And I think we should be more serious. When we say we don't care about which aircraft comes into Nigeria, I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that as of today, Nigeria is being used as a hub by those areas that are not allowed to travel. They come to Nigeria to fly through Nigeria. It's a very serious matter, and we should not play over it. As for me, I want to urge that we have to stop certain airlines from flying into this country. It's very important.
The lawmakers also debated whether to make exceptions for Nigerian students whose schools have been temporarily closed in affected countries.
We just passed a resolution banning airlines from coming into Nigeria. I don't know what members think, but I don't know if it should be blanket or there should be an exception. The reason why I say this is this. The reason why I say this is this. Many countries have shut down their schools. So many Nigerians have little ones and children abroad. Do we make an exception for them to be able to get their children back home to hopefully safety?
Mr. Speaker, without wanting to demean our country, I think our level of preparedness compared to states in the West, Europe and America, is far below par. Those countries are ready to a larger extent than we are to handle this issue of coronavirus. If you go and bring those children, if they are affected, because they are kids back home, and we find them affected, we may be unable to give them the kind of quality of treatment that they may get there. So at the moment, whoever's children children are abroad should endure at this time and allow them to remain there. You can be sure that they are going to get quality health care outside there. And when this blows over, they can come home or you can go over there and see them.
The moment we had one case, we should have probably brought up a motion like this. Now we have 2 cases, known. 3 cases, known. Who knows what is happening in the remote areas of Nigeria? Nobody knows. People are coming from our land borders to Nigeria because there is a case in Ghana. You can take a bus from Ghana and come to Nigeria. We are not taking care of our borders, our land borders. Yes, we are talking about our airports. We have to do something in that regard. This is not a matter of whether we want to be in partnership with one country or the other. No.
On the third amendment.
Then, in a move that many considered confusing, lawmakers accepted an amendment to shut down worship centers, but rejected one to shut down schools.
On the third amendment, which is to do with the gathering, as was done in the Vatican and Iran and Saudi, the gathering for open worship, the gathering of people. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it.
I rise to propose amendment that the federal government should, as a matter of urgency, direct all schools, no exception, all the schools in Nigeria today to issue a stay-at-home directive to all the students for the next 14 days. Yes, because it takes 14 days for the virus to come through. So every school should stay at home with their students for the next 14 days, and that is my proposed amendment.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The nays have it.
Mr. Speaker, I still insist that schools should be closed down. That is my first amendment, for them to go through proper tests, at least for a month. Honorable Henry said the other time that for 14 days, because you can have the infection without running temperature, Mr. Speaker. So I insist that our pupils and the teachers, they go home for a month. Secondly, I propose that the Minister for Health and his team should be briefing the leadership of the House every week, the situation reports of this and how prepared they are in terms of receiving the facilities for the kids. Honorable Jimmy Benson said the other time that they should import, let us know every week if we have gotten the required equipment for all this.
The lawmakers also placed restrictions within the National Assembly.
The House should restrict receiving visitors apart from honorable members and their aides, because we don't know who is coming. So there should be a restriction on, we should ban receiving visitors for now till Nigeria is certified COVID-free. So let the House, let's just have members and our staff. But visitors for now should be banned from coming into the House.
In addition, the House called for all federal lawmakers, legislative aides and staff of National Assembly to be tested for the virus.
There's also need to sanitize the National Assembly when entering. There is need to also test all members and staffs as they enter into the National Assembly using a temperature test.
National Assembly to urgently test all members of Senate, House of Reps, civil servants, and all our legislative aides working in National Assembly to ascertain those that are free of this coronavirus.
One of the lawmakers alleged an inhumane treatment given to one of the persons suspected to be infected with the virus.
I'm saying this, I'm moving this amendment because of what happened in Enugu. They treated her like an outcast, and after a few days, the test came out to be negative. But after a few days again, the woman died, and yet she didn't die of coronavirus, but she died because of the treatment and stigmatization that the hospital personnel meted to her. So my amendment is that quarantine areas and hospitals should be equipped and put in place, and personnel should be trained to know how to treat, to relate to people, because it's not enough for somebody to say, I'm testing you, and at that point you are off the track because you don't know what to come. And even when you test negatives, they have also stigmatized you to the extent that you're losing your dignity.
They also want the federal government to put all security agents at the borders on red alert.